Hello y'all, BreNine here. So with the Meet Your Match update came a whole bunch of buffs and nerfs to items and classes. So today we're going to be going through all of them and deciding what items and classes have been buffed or nerfed. Let's begin with Scout. So the Criticola has been nerfed with a 2-second marked for death effect after it expires, GRU style. So that could definitely reduce its effectiveness. But I feel like typically with the Criticola, you're using it for fast strikes and then getting the hell out of dodge, so might not make a huge difference. Now the Soda Popper has been nerfed much harder. So now you build boost by dealing damage just like with the Babyface's Blaster, rather than just by running. This means it's a lot harder, and you can't enter the first fight of every life with full charge because you ran around and spawned for 30 seconds. So I'm thinking that weapon wasn't used a whole lot, but now it'll probably be used even less. Now the shortstop, I'm going to say it stayed the same. The invaluable healing increase is sadly gone, but it's been replaced with an alt-fire attack where you reach out and shove someone, essentially an air blast that only works on people. Now this may sound lame, but it's actually pretty good for like making escapes by pushing the guy away and sprinting off, separating healers and their targets, so push the medic away from his heavy, that kind of thing. Removing enemies from their perches, like snipers that are in a nice place. Ha! You're not there anymore. And pushing morons off cliffs, because, that's always a lot of fun. Also, the pushback increase has been cut in half. You can decide for yourself whether that's good or bad. I liked it, because I could ride rockets away and escape from them better. But that did also sometimes knock me off cliffs, especially with air blasts. So, Alright, now here's the one we've all been waiting for so many years. The Sun on a Stick. Now, the Sun on a Dick has finally been buffed, and now you take 25% less damage from fire while holding it. Since being set on fire is actually usually a death sentence for the Scout because of his low health reservoir, this weapon could actually finally see some use. I mean, if the enemy team is very pyro heavy, suddenly this actually has a purpose. So in the end, I'm going to say the Scout has been nerfed, but since all the major buffs and nerfs happen to weapons that aren't used a whole lot, I don't think it'll make a huge difference, but I do like the new shortstop and the Sun on a Stick. Next up, the Soldier. Now first off, the Righteous Bison has been nerfed a bit. The same guy can no longer be hit by the same projectile multiple times, but the damage has been increased to compensate. Honestly, I'd normally call that a buff if they hadn't also reduced its speed by 30%, and reduce the damage by 25% for every enemy penetrated. So basically now it's really easy to dodge, and if you are lucky enough to hit multiple people, too bad, it won't do much damage. Now, the disciplinary action has also been nerfed. Its duration of the speed bonus on teammates has been reduced by 1/3, so now it's only 2 seconds. There's no positive to that. It's a flat out nerf. It was an unnecessary one in my opinion, but whatever. Not a lot of people use it. Overall, Soldier has, like the Scout, definitely been nerfed, but also like the Scout, the nerfs have been slapped on rarely used weapons, so it probably won't have a huge effect. And last of all, the offense classes is the Pyro. Yay, this is great. So all flamethrowers, they added direct damage reduces metagun healing and resist shield effects by 25%. Medics hear a healing interrupted sound when this is happening to their heal target. This is a awful idea. I want to slap the man who came up with it. Metaguns were like the only thing that could save you from a flamethrower, and now they're less effective. Bull fucking shit. This is nonsense. And then the Man Melter removed a hidden 20% fire rate penalty. Yay, another buff. So Pyro got another completely unnecessary buff. That's just what we need going into a war between Heavy and Pyro. A buff to Pyro. Great! Hooray! Way to go! Now for the defense classes, starting with the Demo Man. Now, a base change that's been made is that all boots now require a shield to activate any move speed bonus listed on the item. This is theoretically a nerf, but let's face it, who uses the boots without a shield to go with them? Pretty much nobody. So, whatever. The Iron Bomber. Now this one I haven't seen used a lot, but now that they've reduced the fuse time by 0.6 seconds, this is a really nice buff, since it gives the enemy a lot less time to get away from the bomb. In the past, the stationary nature of the Iron Bomber bombs has made them more easy to flee. Oh, there's a bomb there? I'm going to walk away from it, and it'll stay where it is. Now it's a lot harder to do that, so this is really nice. Next, the Quickie Bomb Launcher. I'm not even going to read these stats, I'm just going to let you read them for a second. And holy cow, this is a mega buff, who basically, this makes it like the ultimate air boasting machine. You can fire off and detonate hugely powerful air blast bombs in a very short amount of time. I expect we will be seeing much more of this weapon in the future than we ever have in the past. So, Demo has been buffed, seeing huge boons to some of his least used weapons. I am very excited for my Scottish brother. So, the Natasha and Blast Beast have both been nerfed pretty bad. Now, the damage resistance only applies when you're spun up and below 50% max health. That's bad. It renders the damage resistance pretty much useless, because when you're below 50% health, you want to get the hell out of dodge, not spin up your gun. Next, the Hulong Heater. They've added minus 10% damage, but also added plus 25% increased damage versus burning players, and reduced the ammo drain. And they've also reduced the pulse damage from the Ring of Fire because of the increased damage versus burning. I'm not sure whether to call this a buff or a nerf, so I'm just going to call it weird and move on. And last is the Buffalo Steak Sandwich. Fixed the damage taken multiplier accidentally being 10% instead of the listed 25. Nerf. It was just a bug, but it's still a nerf. Overall, Heavy has been nerfed pretty strongly, but like Soldier Sky, it was a severely used weapon, so I doubt its immediate effect on gameplay. Still though, going into a war between Heavy and Pyro, it seems pretty weird to me that they have buffed the Pyro pretty strongly and nerfed the Heavy pretty strongly. It seems like Valve has already picked their favorite. And now, last of the defense heroes is the Engineer. Now, base change, level 1 teleporters now cost 50 metal instead of 125. This is a huge buff, and it will make rolling out a whole lot easier on defense. Now you can build a sentry and a teleporter without picking up any more metal, and this will also be really great for offensive NGs since the teleporters are more frequently destroyed, and it's good to be able to slap one down and move up. And that's a lot less wasteful now that a level 1 teleporter costs so much less. Now, the Widowmaker, damage is now increased by 10% when attacking the same target as your sentry. It's a simple buff, but it is a very nice one. This will pair great for mobile NGs who use mini sentries or level 1 sentries and are often firing at the same target. Or it'll be good for taking out things like heavies backed up by medics who would normally be able to kill your sentry before it killed them. But now you can combine fire, and with that boost you might be able to stop them. And finally, the Eureka effect has gotten a buff. It's been so long, but thank Gaben, because it was a terrible weapon before. A 20% reduction in metal is still painful, but it's arguably offset by the fact that teleporters now only cost 25 metal. That makes it super easy to slap down a hidden teleporter exit for use with your teleportation ability, and we'll just make this the new meta wrench for quick rollouts, I think, because you can just teleport back and forth really quickly and easily, and yeah, it's great. Now the short circuit base projectile attack is now 10 metal, hit or miss, and then adds 5 metal for each projectile destroyed. Sometimes buff, sometimes nerf. My description says buff or nerf. However, you'll rarely be killing multiple projectiles with one shot, so I'm going to call it a buff, since it reduces the cost when you miss. And last of all, the Thompson 6000. They fix an expert with shooting through your own buildings, whatever. This I am definitely going to call a buff. Most of the time you're hitting people with the Thompson, it'll be at close to medium range, so damage increase there heavily outweighs a damage reduction at long range. I think the Thompson's going to be a lot stronger now. It'll be a lot better at taking care of those spies. Honestly, so NG has definitely been buffed. He's had a lot of weapons buffed and just a general base buff with the teleporters. Very excited for my fellow Texan. And let's move on to the support. Alright, first up on the supports, the medic. Now a big base change is really good. All meta guns now allow the medic to match the speed of their heal target. That was previously only on the quick fix. Holy cow, this is amazing! Being able to follow a scout to the front lines or speed boost his character to safety is amazing for the medic. No more, wait a sec, let me catch up, scout. This is a huge boon to medics everywhere. I'm sure Ray 7 will be psyched. Now the quick fix, the overcharge rate has been reduced by 10%, so now it's only plus 15, so it was nerfed. Shame, I guess that makes it more like a normal meta gun now, and I guess that's how it was intended to be now. Well, the overdose, they've increased the movement speed bonus, like they've doubled it, but they have also increased the damage penalty to 15% instead of 10. I'm going to say this stayed the same because while it's even harder to fight with, it's also even better to run away with. So, meh. I'm still probably not going to use it a whole lot. And dropped meta guns. Stored overcharge now begins to decay over time after coming to rest, and in my experience it decays pretty fast. So it's basically now you can't just run and pick up your old meta gun and get your full thing back. It's more along the lines of one of your teammates can pick up your dropped meta gun and get your overcharge. So, yeah. So Medic, I'm going to say he's been buffed simply because of that first bit. I mean, the drop meta gun nerf hurts, but the speed thing is just amazing. Now for the sniper, who may have had more changes, or at least bigger ones than anyone else. So, first, the cozy camper. Now you need full charge to gain flinch resistance, whatever. It's a nerf, but it's not really a hard one. I always thought the flinch resistance was kind of a bad thing, because you don't realize when you're taking damage unless you're actively watching your meter. So, kind of whatever. Now, the Sydney Sleeper. When fully charged or making a headshot, it now applies Giovanni in a radius, and scope shots now extinguish enemies. This is a huge buff! Huge buff alert! Huge, I tell you! This makes the Sydney Sleeper so much more effective. If the enemy has a bunch of people around them, grouped up, you can get them all. You can wipe a point with one ally by Giovanniing everyone on it from afar and having them go in with bombs or rockets or a minigun to finish the job. Damn, son! Perhaps even better, the ability to put out allies. This is great if you have a good view of the field, since you can now effectively nullify afterburn. On points like E of Steel, where you can see the final point from a perch, you can keep them from spamming the bloody scorch shot on everyone. Who f***ing rah! This is going to make my strange pro kill streak sleeper so much more value. But I ain't selling it. I love that gun. Alright. Now, the Cleaner's Carbine. Removed a hidden 10% damage taken multiplier while under the effects. This is definitely a buff. Good, I like that gun. Overall, it's clear that the sniper has been buffed, and in a good way. This should bring some underused weapons back into use, and I always love it when that happens. Good on you, Volvo. And rounding out our list is the Spy, who, let's just look at the base upgrade. Max speed increased to 320 from 300. This may seem small, but it's actually a massive buff. For the first time ever in history of TF2, Spy is faster than Pyro. And then also, the Enforcer. Attacks, pierce, resist, and absorb effects from all sources. Okay, this is a pretty small buff, but hey, we'll take what we can get after what Gunmetal did to the poor Enforcer. Still waiting for those old stats back, Gavin. Okay, Spy has definitely been buffed. He got a super amazing speed boost and a slight buff to his worst pistol. Hooray! Alright, so those are all the buffs and nerfs from the new update, the Meet Your Match. It'll be interesting to see how they play out in game, and I for one am very excited to see that. Alright, if you like the video, like, subscribe, leave a nice comment. If you're still unsure whether you really want to commit to subscribing to me, why don't you watch some of my other videos? I've got a lot of TF2, I've got a little bit of Overwatch. I think you'll enjoy it. BreNine out.